Hey guys, Mike Martinez, and today we're going to talk about getting the highest possible settlement. Insider secrets to getting the highest possible settlement when you place a home insurance claim. Now, if you're a homeowner and you experience damage, I know how frustrating and how nerve-wracking that can be, and you're wondering, what do I do in this situation? It may be the first time you even approach your insurance company. You're not familiar with the process, so maybe by looking at this video, you'll get an insight as to how things work. And I encourage you to stick out throughout the entire video because you're going to learn some things that are going to help you. And I also want you to understand that my number is right there on the screen. And at any time, you can pick up the phone and give me a call. And there's no charge for me to look at your policy, look at your damage, and advise you as to which is the best way to go. But let's say you want to do this on your own, right? The first thing is that I want you to understand that there's a certain psychology that the insurance company uses. And that psychology is that when you call the insurance company and the customer service, especially to place a claim, their customer service is going to be as sweet as pie. They're going to say, they're going to make you feel comfortable. Oh, Mr. Johnson, oh, I could see you've been a loyal customer of ours for 7 years. The first thing I want to say is thank you very much. We appreciate your business, right? And you're a little stressed out because you got some damage you want to report. This is the first time you're doing that, and you get that approach, right? And you're saying, well, this is not so bad, right? But here's what happens. When you go out there and you give them your name and your address, that they punch that into their computers, and now they're looking at your policy. Now they're looking at what is available to you, and they're steering the conversation, asking you questions that can or cannot hurt your claim. And chances are that you don't want to just answer things willy nilly. You want to be able to go out there and be very specific. And here's what I mean about that. Just so that you know, the statistics tell us that 6 out of 10 claims are initially denied at the very first phone call. Why? Because homeowners don't have all the information that they need, and they go out there and they start the process, but at the same time, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot if you don't have all the information. Now, I'll give you some ideas on what that information is so that you know. But critically important that you understand the fact that your call is being recorded. You actually hear that before you actually speak to a live human being. This call is being recorded for training purposes. Who do they train, and what are they doing with that? No, the call is being recorded, and they're giving you that warning. It's kind of like the Miranda rights. When you're being arrested, you got the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Same thing, right? They're telling you now, hey, this phone call is being recorded. So if I ask you a question and you answer it, and that answer leads to you being denied, we will bring these tapes up, and we will prove that that's the way you answered that. So you got to be very, very cognizant of how you answer. So let's go with some of the questions that are required for you to answer, right? First of all, when you're placing a claim, it is critically important that you have a very specific date. You need to have a date in which the loss occurred. You cannot say, I noticed some water coming into my second floor ceiling. Well, when did you notice that, Mr. Johnson? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe 6 months ago, I started seeing a little dot, and now it's getting bigger. That's not going to help, right? That's not going to put you in a position to be able to fulfill a claim. You gotta have specific dates. specific dates, meaning on February 2nd, we had a storm. That storm was a high wind storm, wind and rain. Some shingles in my roof were displaced or flew off, and I experienced some damage. I had a tree limb come and hit my roof, and now I got water coming into the property. Right now, what that did there, right there, was it covered two things. It gives them a specific date, and it gives them a specific peril, a specific reason why the damage occurred, and the damage is covered by your policy. Very, very important that you understand that, because you cannot say to them, well, I got water damage. Well, where's the water coming from? I have no idea, really. I don't know. You can't say that, right? You got to be able to, because they're not going to pay you. They're not going to pay you a check to get something corrected, and then it happens again afterwards, right? So we need to correct that first problem before you can get money to bring you back to what we call pre-damage condition, right? So those two pieces of information, a lot of times homeowners don't have those two pieces of information, and it puts you in a position of peril to get denied, right? It puts you in a position to for them to say, hey, you didn't give us all the information. We don't know where the damage is coming from. You don't know where the damage is coming from. We don't even know when the damage started, right? The damage could be 5 years old, and that no longer is covered in your policy. So again, all these things are critically important. Now, does anybody explain that to you prior to you? No, you're getting this from me. You're getting this from an advocate, and for homeowners. But the fact of the matter is, your agent, when he sold you the policy, he did not say to you, "Hey," and if he did, then you got a really good agent. But most agents will not say, "Hey, if you have a damage to your policy, to your property, make sure before you call in, make sure you got the date which it happened, and the peril, why it happened, what was the genesis of the problem." Most people will not tell you that, and when you don't have that, when you are vague about that, you stand the risk of getting denied. Here's the second thing I want you to understand. The second thing is that in your policy, specifically detailed, it's specifically stated that it is your burden of proof. It is your burden to prove your damages. If you do not prove your damages, you will not get paid, right? Or you will not get paid appropriately. Now, here's the process that most people do, and this is why the industry, they make billions of dollars of because homeowners don't know this information. So you call up, and you call up with vague information. Oh yeah, I got a water stain that just developed on my second floor. I don't know where it's coming from, but I noticed it as of last week sometime, right? So you're not giving them specific information. They assign an insurance adjuster from their company to go over and look at your policy. That guy comes up, he shows up at your house, and what do? You take your little finger and you point to the water stain in the ceiling on the second floor. That is not burden of proof, right? That is not burden of proof. Burden of proof is you being critically specific about what is required to correct that situation. I got 150 square feet of ceiling that needs to be replaced because I got water damage. In the attic, I got another 300 square feet of insulation that got wet. And now, because it got wet, the R value is no longer there, and we need to take that out and replace that. And to do that is going to take 7 man hours of work at $93 an hour, right? This is burden of proof. This, when you put that in a report form, this is how you're going to get paid appropriately. And this is why, this is the value, right, that a public adjuster brings to you. You may know this. If you're a contractor, you may know some of this stuff, and you may be able to do this without a public adjuster. But if you're not a contractor, and you're not, and even there's some contractors that are limited to the scope of business that they do. Maybe they're into trimming, maybe they're into drywall, maybe they're into whatever, right? Roofing. If you're into roofing, you might be able to give them a detailed report about what materials are needed for to bring back the property to pre-damage condition outside. But you might not be well versed on what's inside, what damages the inside sustained, and how to bring that. So a public adjuster has a full scope of how to deal with these situations. So this is what is critically important. If you can go out there and detail from the very first phone call, hey, this is the data loss, this is the peril that caused the loss, and this is what I need to bring me back to pre-damage condition. You stand in a very strong position to get paid the highest possible settlement. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. The average homeowner doesn't know how to do this, right? How do you do? How do you get all this information? To be honest with you, we have a software that is used in the industry, in the insurance industry, that's used by both the adjusters and the public adjusters, and we use that. And the more information you input, like the adjusters from the insurance company try to limit how much information they're putting in there, because they don't want those reports to come out, big. We're putting everything. We're putting nails. We're putting in every single thing that we can put. We're dotting every I and crossing every T to make sure that you get the highest possible settlement, because that's what we do. That's what our representation of your claim is. So if you don't know how to do that, then I highly recommend that you go out there. Now here's the good part. Two things for the good part. Number one is that we do this on a contingency basis. So that means you can pick up the phone right now and say, hey, Mike, got some damage to my siding. Can you come by and take a look? I look at your policy, I look at your damage, and I say, well, yeah, we can help you out here. And if not, then I will also tell you, hey, it doesn't make sense. Maybe your deductible is too high. Maybe the damage is is minimal, and it makes sense for you to repair this on your own. That is an expert advice, and it'll serve you well to do that, as opposed to just contacting the insurance company and getting a claim, or executing a claim number and not getting paid for it, right? So we'll advise you as to whether it makes sense or not. The other key point that I want to bring to your mind is this. Here's the bottom line. As a public adjuster, I could tell you, over the years, situations have gotten worse, meaning that the insurance companies are fighting in different ways now, and they're fighting more aggressively. And I could tell you on my end, they're fighting. And if you don't know the fight, if you've never experienced the fight that you're going to get from them, I can tell you, expect a fight, right? And if you don't know how to deal with the fight, you're going to lose that fight. So here's what's important. When you hire me, when you allow me to represent you, I'm taking all of that away from you. Now, you got a stressful enough life, just living life, right? Doing your career and raising your family and taking care of your health, and just living life on a regular everyday basis. Now, all of us, we have our own nuances that add stress and complicate things, right? That's just the way life is. When you hire me as a public adjuster, I take that stress away from you. You no longer have to make the phone call, right? You no longer have to write the email. You no longer have to go to the court. You no longer have to go to do the walk around with the adjuster and point things out. None of that is something that you have to do. You have to just go out there and allow me to do what we're going to do, and let us bring the settlement to its end, right? And then we'll hand you the check, and you go and continue doing what you're doing, right? So that's the key. Again, we work on a contingency basis, which means we go out there, represent you, and it doesn't. We do this. If you don't get anything, we'll know from the very beginning whether you're going to get something. But if you don't get anything and we put some time into it, then you don't get anything. You don't owe us anything, right? And that's as simple as it gets. So really, what do you lose, right? 9 out of 10 times you're going to get paid more using a public adjuster than doing this on your own, because of the reasons I just explained, right? You don't know how to make the reports. If you don't know how to make the reports in that level of detail, you're not going to get paid. You're not going to get paid everything you're supposed to get paid. And that's where the difference is. So my name is Mike Martinez. I am a public adjuster in several states, and I encourage you to pick up the phone, give me a call, and say, hey, I got this situation. Let me look at your policy. Let me inspect your damage, and let me see if I can represent you. And you'll have the final say. Hey, Mike, yeah, I want you to move forward. Or no, Mike, that's okay. I'll deal with it on my own, or I won't deal with it, right? Whatever. But the bottom line is, I am here to help navigate this system so that you get the highest possible settlement. And that's what I do. That's my career. So pick up the phone, give me a call, let me know that that I can be part of your team there, and I can help you in this situation. Mike Martinez, hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.